Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear learners, I am Dr. Renuka Mainde, Corporate Nutritionist and Counselor in IGNOU for their MSc DFSM course. Learners, in this module, we shall be learning about methods of cooking food, part 2. Let's begin. The objective of the present module are: discuss the classification of cooking material, describe the different methods of cooking food, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of different cooking methods, explain good culinary practices and cooking methods to prevent nutrient losses from food. Cooking means applying heat to bake, fry, saute, boil or grill food. In scientific term, cooking is transferring energy from heat source to the food. Different methods of heat transfer impart different taste, flavor, texture to the food. In the present module, let us understand and learn different methods of cooking food. Cooking material. Different raw materials are used in cooking to produce a complete dish. Each ingredient in a dish has a special part to play. Knowledge of what each food does is necessary to understand cooking thoroughly. By grouping the foods according to their uses, it makes it possible to remember the fact better. Classification of cooking material. Different raw material are used in cooking to produce complete dish. The cooking material is classified according to the part they play in preparing the dish. Cooking material are classified as foundation ingredients, fats, raising agents, eggs, salt, liquid, flavorings, seasoning, sweetening agent and thickening agent. Foundation ingredient. Every dish has a foundation ingredient on which other ingredient is based. Foundation ingredient can be liquid or solid. Example, flour in the bread, meat to be roasted, milk or stock in soup. When examining a recipe for proportion, all the foods which serve the same purpose should be estimated together. It is not only necessary to know the proportion of various ingredients, but also the composition of different ingredients and the action of heat on these. Thickening agent. Thin foods such as milk, soups, gravies, curries, etc. are often improved by the addition of thickening agent. The thickening used also increases the nutritive value of recipe. Starchy foods and eggs are commonly used as a thickening agent, but sugar thickens the syrup and gelatin sets the thin liquid if chilled. Ground onion, coconut, poppy seeds are used for thickening curries in Indian cookery. Weights and measures. This is a very important part of cookery, particularly for quantity cookery, food production. To obtain a standard product, with a standard yield as is essential for commercial foods. Weighing and measuring must be done accurately. A set of scale, measuring jar, standard measuring cups and spoons must be provided in every kitchen. While measuring, it is always better to level and measure. Methods of cooking food. The correct preparation of ingredients, correct mixing and skills are necessary in actual cooking of food. Different cooking methods are suited to different kinds of foods. Many factors must be considered when choosing cooking methods for meat, fish, vegetables such as the flavor and appearance imparted by browning, the flavor imparted by fats, and the firmness or the delicacy of the product. Cooking methods are classified as moist heat method, dry heat method, heat transfer through the use of fat. Each method has its own further classification based on the medium used. Moist heat method. Moist heat methods are those in which heat is conducted to the food product by water or water-based liquids such as stock, sauces or by steam. Boiling, poaching, steaming, stewing, braising are some of the moist heat methods of cooking. Let us learn about boiling. Food is cooked by surrounding it with boiling or simmering liquid. It can be stock or water. Sufficient liquid should be used to cover the food to be cooked. To retain nourishment and flavor, the food should be plunged into boiling liquid and allowed to reboil and then simmer. The liquid thus obtained is known as pot liqueur and contains some nourishment and flavor. This liquid should not be wasted. General rules for boiling food. Wash the food thoroughly before boiling. First boil the water and then put the food. The water should cover food completely. Boil food in a pan which has well-fitted lid. This way, the steam from the boiling water will not go out from the pan and water will not dry up. General rules for boiling the food continues. Food gets cooked faster and fuel is also conserved in the process. Do not boil food longer than needed. Once it is soft and tender, take it off from the fire. If food is cooked for a very long time, it loses its color, shape and taste. Overcooking also destroys the nutritive value of food. Potatoes and other root vegetables should be boiled with their skin on to retain their nutritive value. Let us learn advantages and disadvantages of boiling. Advantages. Boiling is a safe and simple method of cooking. The food does not get burnt. It is suitable for large-scale cooking. Boiled food is also digested easily. Disadvantages. While boiling, water-soluble nutrients are lost if the water in which food is boiled is discarded. Boiled food may not be preferred by some individuals because of bland taste. The taste of boiled food can be enhanced by adding lemon or other herbs and spices. The next method in our moist heat method is stewing. Stewing is cooking food in a small quantity of water kept below boiling point and for a long time. Once boiling starts, the flame is lowered and food is allowed to cook slowly. The food and the liquid in which it is cooked are served together. Common examples include cooking of pulses and meat. Let us understand advantages of stewing. In stewing, the juices of the food are retained and the food tastes good. The nutrients are also conserved better. Meat and vegetables can be cooked together by this method. The only disadvantage of stewing food is it takes longer to cook. The next method is called steaming. When the food is cooked with the heat from water vapors, it is called steaming. The food to be cooked is surrounded by plenty of steam from the fast boiling water directly or by having the food in the steamer. This is a slow process of cooking and only easily cooked food can be prepared by this method. General rules of steaming food include: have a pan ready with a well-fitted lid. Prepare the food and cut into pieces convenient for serving. Use tepid liquid and only sufficient to half cover the food. Bring just to boiling point and then simmer very gently until the food is perfectly tender. Braising, next method. Braising is a method of cooking in the oven. Unlike roasting or baking, food is cooked in a liquid in covered pan or casserole. This is a combination of stewing and pot roasting. There are two methods of braising. Let us learn brown braising. Brown braising is used for meat. Meat is marinated and sealed by browning on all sides in oven. Sealing helps to retain flavor, nutrition and good brown color. Meat is placed on the bed of root vegetables in a braising pan with a liquid and other flavorings and then covered with a lid and cooked slowly in oven. Let us learn white braising. White braising is used for vegetables and sweet breads. Food is blanched, refreshed and cooked on the bed of root vegetables. Food is then placed in a covered pan with a white stock and placed in oven. Let us understand the advantages of braising. Maximum flavor and nutrition can be retained. It gives a variety to food presentation and menu. Next method, poaching. Poaching is cooking slowly in a minimum amount of liquid which should never be allowed to boil but should be just off boil. Fish, fruits and eggs are poached. When poaching egg, a little vinegar and salt are added to liquid to help in quicker coagulation and thus prevent disintegration. Let us learn about pressure cooking. Pressure cooking is a process of cooking in special utensil which allows cooking with lot of steam under pressure. Pressure cookers are made of steel or from mixture of aluminium and other metals and can withstand high pressure. The steam produced is trapped inside the cooker, thus increasing the pressure and temperature above 100 degrees centigrade. Rice, pulses, meat, potatoes, roots, beans and peas are cooked well in pressure cooker in the shortest possible time. It is important to remember that once the pressure cooker develops optimum pressure, the excess steam is released through the vent kept on its lid. The flame should be lowered at this time. This maintains the pressure and avoids fuel wastage. The vent should be cleaned regularly as it has tiny holes which gets blocked with food. This prevents the escape of excess steam built in the pressure cooker, which can lead to bursting of the pressure cooker and causing severe injuries. Let us learn the advantages and disadvantages of pressure cooking. Advantages: pressure cooking kills all bacteria and hence food is safe and hygienic to eat. The food gets cooked faster, that is almost in 1/3 time than boiling, thereby saving fuel. Several foods can be cooked together in pressure cooker by using separators. It is not necessary to immerse food in the water while cooking, and this reduces the loss of water-soluble vitamins and minerals. Disadvantages: if food is cooked for very long, it loses its texture, flavor, and may even burn. Cooking by dry heat method. Dry heat methods are those in which heat is conducted without moisture, that is by hot air, hot metal, radiation or hot fat. Dry heat methods are divided into two categories: without fat and with fat. Dry heat methods of cooking are as under: baking, roasting and grilling. Let us learn about baking. The food to be cooked is surrounded by hot air in a closed oven. The action of dry heat is modified by the steam which arises from the food while cooking. Bread, cakes, pastry, pudding, vegetables may be cooked by this method. Effect of baking: there is a chemical action on ingredients like sugar, yeast, baking powder. The raw structure of food is changed, which depends upon different ingredients and way of mixing. Principles of baking. The conventional convection oven should be preheated. Product should be placed evenly in the oven. Product should be placed in a greased or lined tins or tray. Items taking long time should be placed in a lined tin at lower shelf. Dry baking. In this method, when food is placed in a preheated oven, steam arises from water content of food. This steam combines with the dry heat of the oven and is used to cook food. Using this method, cakes, pastry, baked jacket potatoes, etc. are prepared. Let us understand advantages of baking. A wide variety of sweet and savory food is prepared. Baking yields appetizing, eye-appealing food with mouth-watering aroma. Uniformity in color and degree of cooking can be achieved even in bulk cooking. Temperature can be effectively controlled. Adding and removing food for baking is very easy. General rules of baking food. Oven should always be preheated. Accuracy is essential in measuring, weighing, and controlling temperature. Tray and molds should be greased. Once the process of baking starts, the opening of the oven should be minimized. Trays and oven should not be overloaded. One should be very careful while placing food in the oven and while removing the same. Roasting. Roasting is to cook food over a source of radiant heat such as on spit, open fire or oven. The term roasting is also used to describe cooking of food in an oven with the addition of fat or oil. Thus, oven roasting is a combination of convection and radiation. Types of roasting: oven roasting, spit roasting, pot roasting, and tandoor cooking. Let us learn about oven roasting. It is a cooking food in an oven. In this method, hot convection of air is produced inside the oven, which is responsible for cooking of food. Heat is conducted from the base of cooking tray, is responsible for browning of food, which is desirable with some food, example potatoes, where a crisp golden brown color is required. Spit roasting. Food is cooked over spit, that is live charcoal or open fire. Food is rotated slowly over the source of heat and is cooked by radiant heat and convection of air depending upon the position of food in relation to fire. Usually large joints of meat are cooked by this method. This method produces its own distinct color, flavor, and texture in cooked food. Pot roasting. Pot roasting is cooking food on a bed of root vegetable in a covered pan. This is not a true roast as moist heat trapped under the lid of the closed utensil is used to cook the food. Using this method will result in retention of maximum flavor of ingredients. This method is used to cook small joints and birds if no oven is available. Enough fat is melted to cover the bottom of the pan. Then the pieces of joints are added and cooked. Tandoor cooking. Tandoor cooking is done in a clay oven known as tandoor using dry heat. Although the source of heat is at the base of the oven, but heat is evenly distributed as clay radiates heat evenly. Advantages and disadvantages of roasting. Advantages: good quality of meat and poultry is tenderized and succulent when roasted. Meat juices oozing from joints are used for gravy and enhance flavor. Energy and oven temperature can be controlled. Ovens with transparent door enables cooking to be observed. Assess, adjustment and removal of food is very easy. This method involves the minimum risk of fire. Disadvantages of roasting. It is relatively slow method of cooking. Roasted food sometimes is too dry. Therefore, it may be served with chutney or sauce. Grilling. This is a fast method of cooking by radiant heat and is also known as broiling. This is of following four types: overheat, underheat, between heat, and barbecuing. Let us learn grilling. Overheat. Food is cooked over hot grill bars. Grill bars are preheated and brushed with oil, otherwise food will stick to the bars. Cooking time will depend upon thickness of food and temperature of grill bars. Only first class cuts of meat, poultry and certain fish can be cooked this way. Underheat. The source of heat to cook the food is over the food. Example, salamander. Steak chops are cooked on the bar, but fish, tomato, bacon and mushroom are usually cooked on the tray. Between the heat. This is a grilling. The food is between electrically heated grill bar or plates. This method is used for small cuts of meat. Barbecuing. This is a grilling of food on preheated greased bars over the fierce heat. It can be gas, charcoal or wood. When solid fuel is used, care should be taken that food is placed on bar when flame and smoke dies out. Food is marinated and brushed with barbecue sauce during cooking. Advantages of grilling. Speed of grilling enables the food to be cooked faster. Charring of food gives a distinctive appearance and flavor. Control of cooking is aided because of food is visible while cooked. Variety is given to menu and diet. Grill may be suitable in view of customer. Let us learn about next method, frying. Frying is the process of cooking food in hot ghee or oil. Food can be cooked either by shallow frying or by deep frying. Shallow frying means frying in little oil and deep frying means immersing food fully in hot ghee or oil. Frying is a quick method of cooking food in hot oil or fat. Frying gives good flavor and color to food. It is of following two types. Shallow frying. Shallow frying also involves sautéing and pan frying. And lastly, deep frying. Let us learn about shallow frying. Shallow frying is the cooking of food in small quantity of preheated fat or oil in a shallow pan or flat surface. Only little fat is used and the food is turned over in order that both sides may be browned. Generally, this method is applied to pre-cooked food unless the food takes very little time to cook. Example, omelette. Some food contains sufficient fat in themselves, like bacon, sausages, and additional fat is not necessary. Fat absorption is greater in shallow frying than in deep frying. Principles of shallow frying. Preheat the cooking utensil before adding the food. This seals the food and prevents the absorption of fat by food and reduce the risk of sticking of food. The side to be presented for the service is fried first. Foods which are thick are cooked at lower frying temperature. Different foods to be fried in same pan should be cooked in order of relative cooking time. That is, food which will take longer time to cook are placed in the pan first. Frying pan is moved and turned during cooking. This helps in even distribution of heat and results in even browning and cooking of food. Let's learn about saute. To saute means to cook in small amount of fat. The French word sauter means to jump, referring the pieces of food on a saute pan. However, larger pieces of meat, vegetables could be sauteed without actual tossing. Preheat the pan before adding the food to be sauteed. Do not overcrowd the pan or else temperature will lower. Meat should be sauteed are often dusted with flour to prevent sticking and help achieve uniform browning. Pan frying. To pan frying means to cook in a moderate amount of fat in a pan over moderate heat. Pan frying is similar to sauteing except the more fat is used and cooking time is longer. Larger items are used and it is not possible to toss them. Pan frying is normally done over lower heat than sauteing because of larger pieces are being cooked. The amount of fat required depends on food is being cooked. Egg requires less fat while meat and fish may need more fat. Let us learn about deep fat frying. The food is completely immersed in hot fat and therefore large quantity of fat is required. The quantity of fat requires some time to heat. Special care must be taken to prevent overheating of fat as this spoils both food as well as fat. The fat decomposes at high temperature. If fat is not hot enough, the food breaks up and it absorbs extra fat, thus making the product unfit for consumption. Almost all food requires coating before frying, since not only are the juices and the flavor of food to be kept in, but fat must be kept out. Material used for coating include egg and breadcrumbs, flour and milk, batter which could be of gram flour or white flour, oatmeal and vermicelli. Both sweets and savories may be cooked by this method. Food cooked by deep frying has much better appearance than that cooked by shallow fat frying. Principles of deep fat frying. Have the fire clear and hot. Food should be of uniform size. Very cold or frozen food should be added in small pieces and quantities. Frying medium should be at correct temperature before adding food. The temperature of cooking medium should not exceed the cooking temperature of the food. Food should be dried before immersing in hot frying medium. All the fried foods should be drained on absorbent kitchen paper before serving. While frying the chicken, dry off all the moisture before dipping in the flour. Food should be seasoned away from the fryer. Fried food should be served immediately after frying. Do not put too many pieces of food to be fried at same time. Once the fat has been used for frying, strain and store in an airtight container. Fat selected and used for frying should have high stability. Normally, fats themselves do not get rancid during frying process. But rancidity in finished product affects keeping quality and acceptability of the product. Darkening of the fat is caused by cooking at high temperature, which carbonizes loose breadcrumbs and small particles of fried foods. Advantages and disadvantages of frying. Advantages. Fried food is very appetizing. It is a quick method of cooking. The keeping quality of fried food is good. Disadvantages of frying. Fried foods are high in calorie and fat content is very high. It leads to obesity and dyslipidemia. Reusing of same oil for frying develops off flavor and is unfit for human consumption due to chemical changes in oil. Microwave cooking method. Microwave cooking refers to the use of specific tool rather than to a basic dry heat or moist heat cooking method. The microwave oven is used mostly for heating prepared foods and for thawing raw or cooked items. However, it can be used for the primary cooking as well. Microwave oven models ranges in the power from about 500 watts up to about 2000 watts. Most models have switches that allows to cook at different power levels. Infrared cooking is the latest way of cooking involving less energy and hazard. In a broiler, an electric element or a ceramic element heated by gas flame, it becomes so hot that it gives off infrared radiation which cooks the food. There is also high intensity infrared ovens designed to heat food rapidly. Infrared can be used in cooking and heating food as it predominantly heats the opaque absorbent objects rather than the air around them. Solar cooking. Solar oven or solar cookers makes use of sunlight as its source of energy. Box type solar cookers are useful for a family, while panel type solar cookers can be used for community or large scale cooking. Let us learn the advantages. A solar cooker does not produce smoke. It has low maintenance and practically no running cost. It is an environment-friendly method of cooking food. Solar cooking can be successfully done in many parts of India. Disadvantages: solar cooker is used outdoors and works only when there is plenty of sunshine. Air fryer. Air fryers are square or egg-shaped devices about the size of a coffee maker. Food which is to be fried like chopped potatoes, chicken nuggets, zucchini slices or papad are put into a slide-out basket. To enhance further flavor, we can toss it in a light coating of oil. A fan pushes heat air up to 400 degree Fahrenheit around the food. The circulating air cooks the outside of food first, which creates a crispy brown coating and keeps the inside soft, just like deep fried foods. As the food cooks, a container below the basket catches any grease that drops. Air fryer work more like a conventional oven. Regular Indian fried foods like pakoda, bhajia, papad can also be fried in air fryers. Air frying is healthier than frying in oil. It cuts calories by 70 to 80% and has a lot less fat. This cooking method might also cut down on some of the other harmful effects of oil frying. Now let us learn reducing the nutrient loss by adopting good culinary practices and cooking methods of food. Conservation of nutrients means saving nutrients during the process of preparation and cooking of food. Nutrients can be preserved in food items by following some simple practices. Wash vegetables before chopping so that minerals and vitamins are not destroyed. Vegetables should be peeled thin to minimize the loss of vitamins and minerals. Cut vegetables into large pieces just before cooking. If vegetables are to be cooked in water, put them into boiling water. Do not throw away the extra water left after boiling vegetables. Vegetable stock can be used for making curries or kneading dough. Conservation of nutrients. Use of cooking soda leads to loss of water-soluble vitamins. Hence, avoid using it for cooking food. Use of tamarind or lemon juice during cooking helps to conserve the vitamins. Prefer cooking rice in pressure cooker or cook in a pan which has well-fitted lid. Avoid draining of water from rice. Just use sufficient water. Adapt proper method of cooking food. Let us summarize, learners. Cooking food is an art and science. Cooking materials are classified according to the part they play in making up the dish, which includes foundation of ingredients, fats, raising agents, eggs, salt, liquid, flavorings and seasoning, sweetening agent and thickening agent. To obtain a standard product with standard yield, as is essential for commercial foods, weighing and measuring must be done accurately. Cooking methods are classified as moist heat, dry heat, and heat transfer through the use of fat. Each method has its own further classification based on the medium used. Moist heat methods are those in which the heat is conducted to the food product by water or water-based liquids such as stock and sauces or by steam. Boiling, poaching, steaming, stewing, braising are the methods of cooking done by moist heat method. Dry heat methods are those in which heat is conducted without moisture, that is by hot air, hot metal, radiation or hot fat. We usually divide dry heat methods into two categories, without fat and with fat. Dry heat methods of cooking are as under: baking, roasting and grilling. Frying is the process of cooking food in hot ghee or oil. Food can be cooked either by shallow frying or by deep frying. Shallow frying means frying in little oil and deep frying means immersing food fully in hot ghee or oil. Frying is a quick method of cooking food in hot oil or fat. Frying gives a good flavor and color to food. By adopting good culinary practice and method of cooking food, maximum nutrients can be retained. So learners, here we come to an end of Methods of Cooking Food Part 2. Hope you have enjoyed learning this. Thank you.